Hi, my name's Isabel Sang.
And my name's Kylie Kasarjan.
And how many people went through high school without any stress or anxiety? Not many people. Stress is taking over the lives of many high school students. One of our dear friends, Ariana, was dealing with depression, although not many people were able to see it. She seemed very happy, everyone loved to be around her, and she even had a soccer scholarship to university. She did end up committing suicide, though. No one saw it coming. A lot of our friends, teachers, it was a big shock to everyone. There were support staff, social workers, guidance, always available to help out and talk with us after this happened for a couple weeks. But the real issue is, where was the help before?
As we all know, mental health is a huge issue and is continuing to grow. There are many campaigns such as Bell Let's Talk and Kids Help Phone. However, they're not always effective. According to Global News, the issue of mental health is a crisis. The suicidal rates in secondary schools have increased by 33%, and there have been 2,500 self-harm hospitalizations within the past year. Fortunately, mental health is one of the three main focuses of the YRDSB, which we've learned after talking to the guidance department at our school. We also took a survey at our school and learned that 2 out of every 3 students wished that they could talk to somebody but didn't know how to reach out.
So the problem. There are many existing resources, such as Kids Help Phone, but the problem with this is that they're not personalized. They don't understand what you're going through directly at school, and they can't give personalized advice to help with this. Also, there is no outreach from our guidance department at our school to help out with students. If a student needs help, they have to go directly to guidance. But the main problem with this is the stigma. There's a circle of embarrassment around guidance, and people don't always feel comfortable going to talk because they feel like, oh, maybe my friends are going to make fun of me, but it's not always true.
This is our solution. Within the past few years, there also used to be a disconnection between teachers and students. But now there is an app called Remind that allows teachers to reach out to the students using chatbot technology. A student simply has to sign up and be inserted into the system by texting a code to a specific number. Then teachers can simply text a message, and all students will receive the message. They use CAT for updates on classroom assignments, any classroom changes, or anything of the sort. What we want to do is use that technology and apply it to mental health through guidance. This will create easy and local access to students to get help for their mental health. What this app will do will send a mass message to students across the school every couple of weeks. It will greet the student and ask them how they're feeling on that day or for that week on a scale of 1 to 10. That student will then have the opportunity to text back a number from 1 to 10. And based on the number that they respond, the chatbot technology will then send another message back. If the student's number is above 5, the chatbot technology will let them go on with their day and friendly say goodbye, have a good day. However, if the student's number is below 5, they'll be asked if they want to meet with a guidance counselor, and then they'll be given the opportunity to say yes or no, because every student has the right to make their own decision. However, if they say a number under 5 and say no for both weeks, within the couple of weeks that they have, then the guidance counselor will be informed and then reach out to the student so that there's a personal confrontation, and the student will actually have a better opportunity to say no and make a decision on their feet. We know that this solution will be effective because of the system that is already in schools right now, the Remind app that I have mentioned before. And as texting is the primary way that kids are communicating these days, we know that it's easy and accessible, and students will be able to use it. Also, with the survey that we took, 85% of students say that connecting to guidance through technology would benefit their mental health by giving them a greater opportunity to talk to somebody. This method would allow us to prevent anything from happening or from kids having depression before it's too late, as it was for our friend Ariana.
So how we're getting there. As of right now, there's approximately 6 guidance counselors in every high school across York Region. If we just say there's a minimum of $50,000 of salary, we're spending about $300,000 per school on just guidance counselors. With the 33 schools in just York Region, we're spending $10 million on strictly guidance counselors. This isn't even for teachers. Also, the Ontario government has pledged $15 million to go towards mental health awareness in secondary schools. So we know the money's there. We've talked to developers, and to get our app going, we need approximately $100,000 to get it also on the market. We are also working with the guidance counselor and our principal to get it in the school board and get it legalized.
As of right now, we are focusing on working on this app locally within our school and within our community, as well as the board. But from then on, we choose to keep it growing so that we can implement it into schools across Canada and use that awareness and take that into action. Thank you.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've got one mic, so we're going to kind of MacGyver this a little bit. So I'm going to ask each of the judges to share their thoughts up to 1 minute, and I'll give them the mic. And then during Q&A, and this just to set expectations, is it okay if we give the presenters the mic and you guys ask your questions? And then I would ask presenters to repeat the questions so that everyone knows what's going on. Fair? Deal? All right. Jeff.
So is it 1 minute of work?
Yeah, so you can't. So this is the real. You can't respond. You gotta kind of focus and listen, and then there will be the 3-minute Q&A that follows.
Okay. Based on the subject matter, I think your opening story obviously is a very tough one. So I appreciate that you guys are looking at solving that problem because it is becoming quite severe on mental health. Outside of that, I think based on what you guys have come up with, you'll have to look at what the market space is already driving. So there is a product, I believe, in Toronto that does generate something to this capacity where you can text in. It's quite the large application, and you can use that. So I think on the product where you guys are going, I think you should focus on different areas that can make you stand out and be unique, which I think would go into using emojis, things like that. How's your day going? Using emojis, they feed back, then using your machine learning and everything else, that can start to drive back the idea of how to keep everything going. And business model, I think you go for a non-for-profit for now to drive out users and get people engaging and interacting with your product. I'm sure it could keep going, but
Oh, first of all, very good job, ladies, and I think you did an excellent job of identifying a very serious problem. I understand that with 7 minutes to explain an entire concept, it's very, very difficult. What I may have liked to have heard as a possible, investor is a little bit more about your added value proposition, because there is competition in this field. Also the monetizing in terms of pricing, what your expectation would be in, selling your service. I'd like to know a little bit more about that as an investor.
First of all, thank you very much for addressing this problem. This is something that I've suffered myself from back in high school. I know countless people who've done the same. And with something like depression, apathy is the biggest problem that people have. They don't care enough to go about solving their own problem. So I appreciate that you guys are tackling that. I like that it's a very simple idea, so it's easy to implement. This is something that a rough prototype can be designed in a weekend, so you can easily, very quickly iterate on something like this. I would, and I agree with I agree with Jeffrey's opinion that not-for-profit is probably the best way, and given that there was not too much of a discussion on your revenue model. Beyond that, I'll simply say that the one problem that you're probably going to encounter is that a lot of people simply won't bother responding to a message sent out to them. So that's something that should be discussed. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. If you have any further questions, kind of noodle them over. I'll give you guys a chance to respond to any thoughts that you had to what they shared. Okay, they're good. Did you have any questions for the team?
I think you've heard from the three of us in terms of the challenges in the revenue situation that you didn't spend much time on. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? Now, how you see generating revenue for it?
So we want to start off with just like we need the money to start getting the app developed first. And the app Remind that's already implemented in our school has a subscription fee that I guess the board pays, and we were going to follow a suit along that.
In terms of added value, if I was a member of the school board and I said, well, there's still apps available, et cetera.
Sorry, there's no what?
There are similar apps available, et cetera, similar services. What sets you apart?
We have looked at other apps on the App Store and everything, just have to do with mental health, and there are a lot, but most of them have to, like if you want to download the app yourself, then you have to pay a fee, right? And so if it's implemented into schools, it's more localized, and it's not students having to reach out and make the decision to pay for that app, but it's more that opportunity is being given to them. And it's by school, so it's more personal, and it's more actually, yeah. Yeah.
On the chatting side, I think use it as humanized as possible.
As what is possible?
Yeah, so less robotic. That it's being able to utilize natural speech, it probably will help. There's got to be some sort of flag mechanism that would actually flag people that actually do have a mental illness, because a lot of the time that goes unmissed. It could be someone just having a conversation with somebody, not realizing that that person actually does have outstanding issues, and that would need to be escalated somehow. So I think that's where your app can come in and help with that. The flag that this person's having an issue, they can give a call, they can do more work with that person, not realizing that, just having a text back and forth, some sort of escalation.
Right.
I just have one more.
Yeah.
In terms of staffing, what's the plan for going to do what, how many people are required to do business schools?
In terms of staffing.
Can you just repeat that question?
Can you repeat it? I can't really hear that.
Sorry, my voice is shot.
It's okay. We're also closer to the sound over there.
Yeah, the question just related to staffing. How many people, are you planning on engaging to move your business forward? Who would be doing the selling, things of that nature?
Well, right now, we want to keep it local. So within each school, guidance would be running it within each school for now. But if we want to grow it, which we would choose to do, it would be board-wide.
Kaylee, Isabel, thank you very much for a great presentation.